So, are you struggling with a bit of inconsistency with your golf game, especially from last season and getting ready for next season? Well, I'm going to show you how a simple chair like this is going to make your golf much better. So come on, let's go do it. So one of the most common faults that I tend to see with golf is, especially, well, from professional golfers actually all the way up to your total beginners, is this what we call early extension, okay, or this movement of what we call moving up into the ball. It's when your lower half tends to thrust and go with the club as opposed to pushing away. It's quite a common fault that we tend to see golfers suffer with, really, and it causes a lot of inconsistencies, because if I'm pushing my hips forward and moving up this way, it tends to shallow the club quite severely, and it then causes flips and missed strikes and all sorts. And it's a very common fault that we tend to see. So moving up this way can cause me to cause all sorts of shots, all right? So that feel is really, really wrong. Generally, it's because we're moving with the weight of the club. Okay, the momentum of the club makes me want to go that way. What I've got to learn to do is to move away from that momentum and push away from it. So if I can get the weight as the club comes down here, I'm pushing away, that's going to help me to generate club head speed and or gets the club head to swing on the right arc and the right path. So it's a real common fault that we tend to see golfers do, but that pushing away is going to get the club to travel into the ball at the right arc and hit a nice shot. So there's a difference though between real and feel. And sometimes we see golfers, what they do is they think they're making the changes, but they're so ingrained and got so used to it that they actually struggle to make the change. So I'm going to show you how a simple chair, okay, and how to use it properly as well, by the way. So this has been around for a long time. And the common mistake is people teach you to put your butt on a wall or things like that and keep it there. The problem I have with putting yourself up against something and sticking on it is you'll tend to roll along it, okay, which in turn makes the hips pivot and go forward and makes it even worse, okay. My hips have to travel in straight lines, okay, and they push back and back. And you've got to have a bit of space to be able to push back onto, because otherwise you're just going to move into the ball even more. So having an understanding or clear concept of how the hips work is also vital as well. So how do the hips work? Okay, the hips work, they work in so my hips aren't round, okay? They're oval shape by look. So when they're in an oval shape, okay, my hips are working to keep the center of my pelvis steady or stable. I don't want it moving up near the ball. My pelvis has got to work back, and that's what creates that movement. So my right hip goes back, my left hip goes back. And I have to train that action, all right? Because it's not something that's just gonna suddenly happen and just magically appear. And also you need to have a feel, you need to get the feel for it as well. And this is where the chair comes in. Okay, so how do I use a chair, all right? So there's three ways that I would suggest that you use this. I'm going to throw in a bonus one as well for you to help you if you've really got bad extension. But to use the chair, I'm going to use the back of the chair here. But most golfers, what they would have tended to do before was they would have put themselves up against it. Okay, so I can feel myself against that chair. Now the issue, as I said before, with that is I will tend to roll along that chair, okay, and I actually will come off it even more, all right, because it's weird to actually do that. Now if I was going to do this properly, I'm setting up to it properly here, so I'm touching the chair, ideally I'd be, what, 2 fingers widths away from the chair. That's only, what, 1.5 inches or whatever that is. Now in order for me to swing properly and to get back there, I've got to feel as though my butt is pushing backwards to hit that chair, all right? So I'm only 2 fingers widths away, but I've got to feel that right butt goes back to touch it, and then the left butt's got to go back to touch that one on the way through. So it's really a feel, okay, of pushing away from the ball. It's going to help me to exaggerate it, and this is where you need to make changes, is through exaggeration. Now, the way that I like to actually use a chair is slightly different to how most people want to use it. So instead of it being parallel to my target line, I'm going to want to turn my chair at a 45-degree angle, all right? So it just feels a bit off here. Hold on, let me just get it off here so I don't hurt myself. Right, so I've turned that chair at a 45-degree angle to the target line, okay? So that's my target line, about a 45-degree angle. Now from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my right cheek sorry, my left cheek on the chair, all right? I'll just pull this a little bit this way. So I've got my left cheek is on the chair, and you can see my right cheek is well away from this. This is going to help me with hip depth. So if you're somebody who has a bit of a slide, or they have a tendency to not push this hip back and the left hip goes forward and away, it's going to keep my left cheek on the chair. I'm not worried about forward swing here, but all I'm going to work on here is the feeling of how much depth I need to have with my right hip to go back. Bearing in mind as well, my right hip goes back and up, okay, to make a backswing. So I'm going to go back here, and I can feel that I've gone a long way back to reach that chair. My left cheek is still on, you have to trust me on this one, but my left cheek is on the chair, but my right cheek's gone back to meet it as well, and I feel as though that everything's turning or moving back and away. Okay, I can get more movement from here. Okay, so that's a great way to train that. So back and through. Okay, I'll be a bit restricted on my forward swing, but I can get more hip depth, as they call it, from training that. Okay, so from here, push that back. I can feel that go really deep. I can feel the pressure go into my right heel. Okay, so just back and through. Okay, you'll probably get the odd hooks with this one because I'm restricted on the way through. Now, once I've done that a few times and I've felt what it's like for my right hip to go back, okay, I can then train the left-hand side. So the way I would do that is obviously do the complete reverse. Okay, so I turn it this time now, this way, okay? So that's now at a 45-degree angle. So that's my target. It's about a 45-degree angle to the target. And again, I do the complete opposite. So this time, I'm going to put my right hip is on the chair, but I've got a gap here now. It's almost 3 fingers width, with it being a 45-degree angle. I've got a gap here now, and I'm just going to train. So I'd hit from here basically, but again, I'm going to feel that left hip pushing back. Okay, so it's actually meeting the right hip. Now I'm only going to swing from about here somewhere, because in the downswing, this is where I'd roughly be. My right glute's still back, but I'm pushing the left hip back to help turn that corner and get to the left. So it's going to go back and through this way, and this gets the club moving in the right direction. But I can really feel, it feels like an exaggerated push back. And again, I'm pushing into the ground, and my left leg is pushing my left hip back, and I'm going into my left heel. So I was right heel in the backswing, left heel in the forward swing. Okay, so I can feel this on here. I'm only swinging from here and through. Oh, 50-yard bin. Just caught that thin, so make the change. It's not so much about strike on this one really. It's more about, am I pushing that hip back? So just back and through. There we go. Okay, so I can feel that coordination. As I push away, my club is coming down and I'm moving away from the ball. It's a great way to train it in order to feel that motion. So it feels as though I'm going back and back and back forever. Okay, but yeah, it's only what, 3 fingers, which is nothing really. So if you're really struggling with getting, open the left side up, as they call it, or whatever you want to call it, this is a great drill just to feel that. So just go back and through, okay? And I can generate a little bit of club head speed from that. What's that? I'm only chipping it, aren't I, really? What's that, 66 club head speed, 145 yards, okay? From a relatively small swing. Bearing in mind I'm only swinging it to about here somewhere, and I'm pushing that back. But I'm using the ground to push off. So back and through. There you go, it's a nice shot. I'll take that one all day long. Okay, 67 miles an hour. Ta-da, come on, 147, okay? So really, really important to feel that. And that's how you should use a chair properly, all right? You can, then once you've done that a few times, you can level that off. But really, that's just to give you a feel of what we're trying to do with the hips, to exaggerate. Because sometimes we see people, they practice, they don't exaggerate the feel enough, all right? So that's that feeling now. I've got that feeling of how far that right hip needs to go, and then how far that left hip needs to go. And I can try to combine the two up. So right hip, left hip, okay? I don't get in the way. So my body's not getting in the way of my hit, if that makes sense, when I'm playing these shots. So using a chair properly and efficiently is going to help you to hit the ball a lot more consistently, all right? Because my club can then complete its circle going around me in the swing, rather than me disrupting that circle by pushing forward. All right. So learning to do that with the hips. So the right hip goes back, goes deep and back. It goes back and up this way. The left hip goes back and up as well. And it goes away from the club head. So I'm always moving away from the club head rather than moving with it. And that's really the key to good golf. So practice that as much as you possibly can. Right hip back, left hip back. You'll really get that feel. So right hip back, left hip back. Okay, the club runs into the ball. It actually speeds it up a little bit because that motion of pushing away is what creates the club head speed. So that's really, really, really important. I mean, that was a nice easy swing, 164 yards. I'd take that all day long, okay? Normally when I'm going full pump, I'm about 170, 180 with my 7 iron, okay? So 175, 180, all right? So other than that, that's what you really should be working on. So there you have it, okay? This is how I would effectively use a chair versus what other people might suggest. I did say that there'd be a bonus, didn't I, at the end of that? So the bonus, this is a good one, this one. So, it depends how tall you are, all right? It depends how high you need this to be. You can get a dining table, chair, whatever it is. But a good way to feel this as well is to sort of actually bend over the chair. So I take golf posture, my arms hang this side of the chair here. Now, in order to make my swing here, I've got to learn to keep the hips away from the back of the chair. Because if I was to push up into it, I push the chair away, all right? So this feeling of me staying right hip back, left hip back, I can complete that circle and I won't push up into the chair. So it's a great way to feel that. I feel as though I'm staying bent over the chair and I'm not standing up into it, if that makes sense. So it's a great way to get that feeling of staying bent forward, all right? I think the guys at TPI once mentioned about like having white picket fence or something like that, where you feel as though you've got the fence here and you feel as though you're bent over the fence, okay? Stay bent over it. So whatever it does to help you, but that's how a chair can really effectively help you to play better golf. Anyway, I hope that video helps you. It's definitely helped me in my past and my golf swing. I was always very much an early extender of the ball. So hopefully it helps you. Please drop in the comments below if it has. If you've tried it, if you find it more effective, let me know. I want to know if it's working for you, okay? We're a community of golfers here and I want to know if these things help you out, okay? Let me know in the comments below thank you for watching. I hope it helps you. Please like, subscribe and to share and I'll catch you next time. Okay, are you struggling with your golf game currently at this moment? Okay, I'm looking to help golfers to reduce their shots by 5 shots in 90 days. All right, if not, I'll work with you until you do. We're going to do this via what we call the Golf Live app, a brilliant app where you can actually have live lessons like this with me. We talk about your swing, we analyze it, and we work you through what you need to do. Okay, you can do all this though from the comfort of your home, at your own home, rather than having to visit me here in Manchester. Obviously, I'd love to have you here as well if you're happy to do that. But if you can't do that and you live somewhere else in the world, I can still help you reduce your shots, well, your scores by 5 shots in a round. To do this though, I need you to contact me at Matt Baker Golf and do that via my Instagram account, which is at Matt Baker Golf. Message me, let's say the word swing, and I will send you all the details through on how to do this. And it also includes a free swing analysis, okay? And we're going to see if we're a good match. I will tell you what you need to do, but drop me a message on my Instagram account at Matt Baker Golf. I'm looking forward to helping you out. Let's try and get your handicap down this season so that you're going to make better scores and play your best golf ever. Okay? Hopefully we can get you hitting the ball really, really well and get some good scoring ready for next year.